Coming up in this edition of Media McKnight, TV's killing season, major job cuts and industry shake-ups. Nine's radio execs make the smartest decision they've made in ages. See the clip that led to Donald Trump threatening to sue the BBC for $1 billion. The big decision that turned Channel 10's Big Brother into a hit. And ever wondered what Dickie Knee's face looked like? All will finally be revealed. All that and plenty more in episode 17 of Media McKnight. Hello, I'm Rob McKnight. With over 30 years' experience in the media industry, this is Media McKnight. First up, a quote that popped up on my socials that pretty much sums up my time in the television industry. Some people will tell you I'm the nicest guy in the world. Others will say I'm the biggest arsehole they've ever met. Believe them both. They got the version they deserved. Well, what a week it's been in television. If you still have a job, congratulations. You're one of the lucky ones. On Monday morning, word started spreading that Nine was planning major job cuts across news, sport, Stan, marketing and creative functions. The news hit just after 9 a.m. when an email was sent to staff from Managing Director, Streaming and Broadcast, Amanda Lang, saying the leadership team has spent the past few months reviewing our operating model as we continue to bring the division together and embed the new leadership team structure. In addition, the advertising market remains challenging, requiring us to overlay this critical reality in our decision-making. The review was centred around how we can reduce duplication, drive greater collaboration and deliver commercial growth for the Nine Group. What it does mean, however, is we need to make changes to how we are structured to enable the realisation of these goals. That means job cuts. Around 50 positions, in fact, will cease to exist. Now, the network says some staff will be redeployed into other positions, including newly created roles. The consultation process began with staff on Monday afternoon, but others who were on contracts have already had their fate sealed. Those leaving the Nine network include 9 News Sydney weather presenter Amber Sherlock, 9 News Adelaide presenter Kate Collins, 9 News Queensland sports presenter Jonathan Upton, 9 News Queensland supervising producer of presentation and promotion Leon Cole, 9 News Queensland operations coordinator Jessica Llewellyn, 9 Melbourne Senior Communications Manager Terry Stewart, NBN News presenter Gavin Morris. The sudden announcement on Friday that 9 News Melbourne weather presenter Lavinia Nixon would be finishing up this week might also suggest her contract wasn't renewed, or maybe she just didn't agree to a lesser sum of money. Over the coming days and weeks, expect more departures of names who work behind the scenes and have little or no profile. Although Sydney News Director Michael Best has sent out an email to staff advising them the people affected by these changes have already been spoken to. So those who haven't been contacted can breathe a sigh of relief. These job losses will hit hard as the industry contracts even more. Just last week, 10 announced Chris Barth would be leaving the network. Cuts are happening everywhere. One area that won't be affected by the cuts is the Today Show, which has finally signed Sarah Arbo to continue co-hosting duties alongside Carl Stefanovic for at least another year. And in an email to staff shortly after Lang's, Director of Morning Television Steve Burling told staff, "I understand and appreciate this can be a time of uncertainty. With that in mind, let me assure you there are no impacts to our immediate Today Show, Today Extra team. However, please be mindful of our colleagues in other locations and teams throughout Nine. Thank you for your ongoing professionalism and patience as we work through these changes together." Now, while there won't be any staff cuts, Media McKnight can reveal the show is set to undergo a major transformation behind the scenes, starting with a fully automated studio. Until now, a full control room full of staff has been used due to the changing nature of the show. Unlike the 6 p.m. news, Today is not a set and forget program. The rundown develops throughout the morning as news breaks while they're on air. Full automation of Today Extra and Weekend Today is set to start soon, reducing the number of control room staff significantly. If all goes well, full automation of Today will happen early next year. In a case of bad timing, though, around 19 testers have been flown in from around the network this week to trial the new system. This new system will replace the old ENPS system currently in use and allow full automation, helping Nine reduce costs. Finally, some positive change at Brisbane radio station 4BC, with the station announcing Sophie Formica will be hosting the breakfast slot alongside Dean Miller.
And here we are, live and loud, in the studio together on a Friday. You've been sounding mint.
Thank you.
So good. You actually probably...
Look at us.
You're probably looking at me like spare wheel. I don't want this. I don't want him.
No,
here.
I'm more than happy to be welcoming you into the studio and into the 4BC family officially next year, and for you and I to take on this new challenge together.
Formica made the announcement in front of an array of producers and content director Siobhan McDonald, who looked on like a doting mum. The banter between Miller and Formica seemed genuine, and chemistry is hard to create between two people, but thanks to a 20-year friendship, these two seem to have it. That should help listeners transitioning to a new format. And this is the right change for the station. For some time, I've been saying 4BC Breakfast needs to have a format similar to 3AW. In fact, this is what I said in July. My take, for what it's worth, is that the station should have gone down the 3AW path in breakfast, something like the hugely successful Russ and Ross show, rather than the 2GB format with Ben Fordham. This is nothing against Fordham, but it's my belief Brisbane wants a mix of news and entertainment. The talk format can work in Brisbane, and I really hope Nine Radio doesn't give up doing local shows for the market, even if that means making more changes. Now that executives have finally changed to a format I've been suggesting for a while, only time will tell if McKnight was right. President Donald Trump is threatening to sue the BBC for US $1 billion after an episode of Panorama made, and I quote, malicious, disparaging edits to a speech Trump delivered on January 6, 2021. The story came to light thanks to an explosive investigation by The Telegraph, which showed footage from the speech which had been edited in a way that misrepresented comments made by Trump ahead of the riots at the Capitol.
The BBC claims to be the pinnacle of impartial reporting, but what if there was an internal dossier that revealed that wasn't the case? The Telegraph has seen a letter that reveals one of the BBC's own independent advisors repeatedly warned that the broadcaster had serious and systemic problems. A week before the US election, BBC Panorama released a documentary called Trump: A Second Chance, and in it, they played the following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell.
But Trump didn't in fact say this at all. The BBC spliced together two clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
The scandal forced the resignation of BBC Director General Tim Davie and Head of News Deborah Tenness. The BBC, though, is unlikely to capitulate to Trump like broadcasters in the US have, because unlike those broadcasters who have settled with the president, the BBC does not need regulatory approval for any upcoming deals. Having said that, there is no doubt the footage was edited in a way that misrepresented Trump's comments. What that means in a legal sense will be fascinating. Although defaming politicians, it's a high bar unlikely to have been met in this instance, as the BBC will argue the editing was a technique used to convey what Trump was trying to say to his supporters in a short way. Whether or not the BBC ends up paying any money to Trump is not the issue here. The corporation has exposed itself to unnecessary criticism by using a shortcut to tell a story. For an organisation that upheld a complaint against newsreader Martine Croxall after she changed the term pregnant people to women, this latest gaffe will serve as proof the BBC is more worried about a woke agenda than actually telling the truth. Sometimes a picture or a meme says everything. Take this Instagram post from The Guardian. ABC executive who sacked Antoinette Lattouf paid $836,000 for his 8-month employment. Yes, that's right. Chief Content Officer Chris Oliver Taylor received a $342,436 termination payment in February. His resignation came after his role was substantially downgraded by the ABC chair, Kim Williams, and weeks before he was due to give evidence in the high-profile court case brought by Lattouf. And judging by his performance on the stand, I reckon the ABC is better off without him. But how can anyone justify this kind of payout is beyond me. Finally, real people have entered the Big Brother house. Channel 10 has gone back to its roots for the latest series of the iconic TV show, and it seems to be resonating with audiences. In fact, the first episode of the regular series drew 631,000 total TV average on Monday night. That's not a bad result. The casting is a welcome relief from attempts by 9 and 7 to put a bunch of influencers in the house. The people chosen by 10 and for this series are real and compelling. Now, while the production budget is tight, the on-screen product is holding up well, and social media is buzzing. Even when rain caused major delays on Saturday night for the pre-taped Sunday launch, the show was very watchable. It's nice to see an Australian production that doesn't rely on celebrities for once. I'm here for it. It was a Saturday night tradition. Each week, families and friends would gather and watch Hey Hey It's Saturday for 2 hours of fun and mayhem. An array of characters delighted us, including the blue-hatted Dickie Nee. But we only ever saw the back of Dickie's head. And I don't know about you, but I always wondered what the front of him looked like. Well, the other weekend, I was digging through some old files and I found some video of John Blackman flashing Dickie Nee's face when he appeared on Studio 10.
Oh, now, kids, look away if you don't want to see him, all right? Okay?
Oh,
for the first time ever. There he is. Oh! That's it. Those... People don't have freeze frame out there, do they?
No, that's fine.
It's crazy. The blink and you'll miss it moment has been captured for prosperity, and it's an image that is really hard to comprehend. There's no face, no eyes, just gaffer tape. I find it freaky. And while we're talking about blasts from the past, I also found an old live stream I did with the cast of The Today Show. This internet-only special streamed live just after 9 a.m. and featured Carl Stefanovic, Lisa Wilkinson, Richard Wilkins, Georgie Gardner, Ben Fordham, Stevie Jacobs, live from Sydney, and Richard Reid, live from LA.
Well, Richard Wilkins is beaming back from inside the control room. Are you there, Dickie?
I am indeed. I should point out that the other shirts that Richard Reid gets, he gets from his nana's curtains, I think. But that's not the story. Hey, listen, I just thought I'd show you around over here. This is my little office, which is home to me. I recently moved, so there's a bit of stuff lying around here. Some great albums that you'll find sitting around. But I thought you'd might like to have a look around. This is some of the hard-working team. Mike Dalton, ace reporter there. Morning, Mickey. This is where Carl's office is. In fact, this is Stevie Jacobs' fan club over here. But Carl, you've got Carl's... Gee, I hope this is all okay, Carlos, is it? There's a bit of... Oh, gee whiz. Yeah, no, sorry. A bit of... there's some dodgy stuff around here, mate. But this is where Carl comes to work and sits down and goes through his daily batch of free stuff that arrives and wheels it down there into the boot of the car. More hard-working staff. And, of course, this is Georgie and Lisa's office in here. Let's pop in here. This is neat and tidy, as you would expect from the girls. And... how about that for a cover, huh?
Super puzzler.
Nothing wrong.
It's a truly great insight, even if I do have the voice of a 12-year-old going through puberty. You'll find it on the McKnight Tonight YouTube page. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Media McKnight. Episodes are available early to paid subscribers at youtube.com/@McKnightTonight. I'll be back with more insights next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. I'm Rob McKnight. Hope to see you then.